Hello everyone, welcome back to another top 10 list, and this one is going to be a very popular band, as you can tell by the title, the Beatles. Top 10 choices. These are my 10 favorite Beatles songs. Again, I will state first and foremost, these are not necessarily my top choices for the all-time greatest Beatles songs. These are my favorite songs by the Beatles. So, top 10 Beatles songs. And I'm going to start with number 10. This song comes from the Revolver album. And it starts with strings. And it sounds very much almost like the theme to Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And it was written, I think McCartney wrote the song based upon his idea of loneliness. And the song in question is Eleanor Rigby. I love the composition of this song. It's a very simple pattern, but it's the addition of the strings and of course the fantastic way that the Beatles put together their vocal arrangements. This song is just it's a classic song, and it comes in at number 10 on my favorites list. Coming in at number 9 is from Abbey Road, and it seems almost like it's a tie between Abbey Road and Revolver for my favorite Beatles albums. It's very difficult to make a decision which one's my favorite. But anyway, number 9 is the song I Want You. She's So Heavy. I just love the arrangement here. It's the way that they come in and the way that they change it up. It's a very heavy song. The title does not lead you in the wrong direction, doesn't misinform you. She's So Heavy. The song itself is very heavy. But I just love the way that the song begins. I want you so bad. It's just so cool and laid back, but it's just still at the same time, it's almost a raunchy sound. And then when it gets into the She's So Heavy part, that's probably the heaviest the Beatles have been since. It would have been since Helter Skelter, because Helter Skelter came out in '68, so this came out in '69. So this is about the heaviest the Beatles get, with the exception of Helter Skelter. The next one's a very psychedelic song, and it is off the most psychedelic album, in my opinion, that the Beatles made, 1967. Off the Sgt. Pepper album. This song is called A Day in the Life. I love the way that John and Paul wrote this song together. John took a piece of what he had written and Paul took a piece of what he had written, and they just put it together. And the psychedelic swell in the song in the middle and then at the end is that must have blown people away back in '67, because music like that just didn't exist. The Beatles were truly pioneers of psychedelia, and The Day in the Life is certainly a prime example of that one. Coming in at number 7 is a song off the White album, and this song was written by John Lennon, and he wrote it, I believe, while the Beatles were over in India, when they went over to visit the Maharishi, and this was written for the sister of Mia Farrow, who was in the Polanski film Rosemary's Baby. But the song is about her sister Prudence. It's called Dear Prudence, and that is, the way that the intro comes in, the guitar, and then the drums. I really love the drums and bass on this song. Even though I love the guitar part, the drums and the bass just really drive this song for me. And I love the way that John sings the song. he put together such a beautiful melody for this song. And it should be really higher on my list, but there's a few songs that are a little bit higher than that. So Dear Prudence comes in at number 7. Number 6 is probably one of the first Beatles songs I ever heard. And it is from I believe it is from the Help album. It's called Ticket to Ride. She's got a ticket to ride. Love that song. Love the way that the melody is. I love the composition. The Beatles were just so good at putting together simple melodies and complex melodies, and just the way they wrote the songs. I mean, they are not overrated songwriters, that's for sure. They are genius songwriters, because they could write a pop song like that, but then they could turn right around and put together something extremely complex like Sgt. Pepper or pretty much anything off the White Album. They explored a lot of genres on that album. So Dear Prudence, Ticket to Ride coming in at number 6. Okay, so we're getting into the top 5 now, and this one I think was off the second album by the Beatles. It's one of the earliest Beatles songs, one of the more popular Beatles songs back in the day. It's called She Loves You. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Such a catchy little tune, beautiful little love song. The Beatles were so good at writing songs about love, so simple. This is just something that makes me feel good. I just love to listen. It just makes me feel good to hear it. And it comes in at number 5. Number 4 is going to be a song that maybe a lot of you haven't heard, but it's a song off of the Revolver album, which again is one of my favorite albums, and it's called Dr. Robert. And I used to work with a guy named Robert, so I would sing this song sometimes to aggravate him. But it's really a catchy little tune, and not very well known or mentioned a lot in some of the Beatles reviews or discographies. And I don't think it was even on the original Revolver in the U.S. I think it might have been in the U.K. The original it was on, but not in the U.S. But this song is, I think, a lot of Timothy Leary when I hear this song. I don't know if it was written about him and they just used that name to disguise it, but I know Timothy Leary had a lot of influence on the Beatles. Some of their songs, Come Together and Tomorrow Never Knows and things of that nature, but I always think of him when I hear this song, Dr. Robert. But that comes in at number 4. It's a little gem that a lot of people never heard of. Number 3 may be a little controversial pick, but I really love the minimalist sort of primal sound of this song, and that is Ballad of John and Yoko. I know a lot of people thought that Yoko was the reason the Beatles broke up. Paul McCartney, in an interview that I had watched, said that John was actually the reason the Beatles broke up, that he chose for this to happen. And that he wrote the song Let It Be, because he was suffering from sorrow over the situation. But I love it. It's a B-side to the song Old Brown Shoe, and I think it was off a compilation album called Hey Jude. But the Ballad of John and Yoko, it really is a precursor to the type of sound that you're going to hear from John Lennon's solo material later on. But yeah, I mean, it's totally John. It's totally John, and I love it. It could have been on his solo work, but number 3, Ballad of John and Yoko. Number 2, this was tough not to rank number 1. This may be one of the first Beatles songs I heard too. My mother used to sing a lot of Beatles songs when I was a kid. Something, the George Harrison song, love song from Abbey Road. I think he wrote it for Pattie Boyd, I think of his wife at the time. This is a beautiful love song. I mean, Frank Sinatra even said that it was the greatest love song of all time, from what I've read. But George Harrison, this is probably his greatest achievement, at least with the Beatles. And I would say all time, this song is just, it's a powerful song. It's a beautiful song. It's a poignant song. It's I mean, there's not much you can say about it. It is definitely one of my favorite songs, and would be my favorite song if it wasn't for my favorite song, which is Tomorrow Never Knows. My number one favorite Beatles song off the Revolver album, written by John Lennon, inspired by Timothy Leary's book, The Psychedelic Experience. Wow. I mean, it's a one-note wonder of a song, really. I mean, it's just almost like this drawn the whole time. The whole time that it's playing. I think it's even like in one chord. I mean, it's just unbelievable what he did with the simplicity of this song and just added complexity to it. I love the sounds, the sounds. I would love all that stuff. Beautiful song. Turn off your mind, relax and float downstream. Beautiful song. It is definitely a song that every time I hear it, I love. I mean, it gets me excited. I love it. It's everything. So it is the Beatles, my favorite Beatles song. So that is my top 10 Beatles songs. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, and you want to like the video, I would appreciate that, and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. And then we'll come back with some more lists. I do have a few more album rankings to do, discography. I think I'm going to do Black Sabbath and Yes is coming up. So there's a lot more things to do. If you have any ideas, just shoot them to me in the comments section. So until then, take care, and thank you guys for listening and watching.